feeding sessions are outside on a board, so you can look at all those times. And each one is actually themed a little bit differently too. So if you see this one, come back to the next one, and you can also see different things or different combinations of animals that may be out in the front actually kind of going for this session. So right now, you can see that some of our dolphins are here in the front. They actually have access to all three pools here in the front section and in that back middle. So you can see them swimming around. They have their choice of where they want to hang out for right now. Sometimes you'll see them swim through. If you're trying to figure out who is who a little bit, you can head up to those observation decks on either side of our exhibit. It actually has all of their pictures, their names, their birthdays, so you can figure out how old they all are, and even a little bit about how they're related to one another. All of our dolphins have at least one other family relation within our colony here, so you can kind of figure out who belongs with who. Once you figure out who is who, also based on those facial pictures, or even that dorsal fin picture, that's the dorsal fin is the one on their back. That's actually a way that you can identify the animals too, because each dorsal fin is very unique. It's actually as unique as a human fingerprint for our dolphins. They actually have different shapes, different sides of that dorsal fin, even different notches or patterns on that back edge. It's actually the way that researchers studying these populations out in the ocean are going to be able to tell those animals apart, because that's actually typically the only part of the dolphin that they see coming out of the water. It's just that dorsal fin, so they have to be able to identify it based on that. But we're lucky here because we do have big windows with clear water, so you can actually see our dolphins from their entire body and be able to identify them. That's why we have some of those pictures of their faces up there too. See if you can tell who is who. Then after the session, you can head down to the underwater viewing window. It's down these stairs on either side of this very center part of our exhibit here. If you head all the way down to the very bottom, you can see our animals up close and personal, especially after you know how you can tell them apart. You can try your hand at figuring out who is who down there. That's also where our jellies invasion exhibit is. The other exhibit on this side of the aquarium on Pier 4, so make sure you check that out too and don't miss it. It's across the cafe down the stairs down there. So throughout the day we do lots of different activities with our dolphins. All of them relate to taking care of them in some way or another. Some of these are extremely important when it comes to husbandry behaviors, so things that are a little bit more the medical side of how we take care of them. That's a very important part. Just like we have to go to the doctor to make sure that we stay nice and healthy, your pet probably has to go to the veterinarian, at least on a semi-regular basis. So the same thing for our dolphins, making sure that they are nice and healthy. We can do that in a couple different ways. There are some more medical type of behaviors that we can ask them for, things that we might have to get samples, like we can get actually a blood draw from our dolphins, just like we might need to make sure our values are healthy. We can even look them over. They allow us to look over all parts of their body, their backs, their bellies, even inside their mouths. They'll let us open up those and see their pearly whites, those teeth of theirs, and even just the back of their throat. So these are just some of those medical side of behavior that we can get from them. But then we also can just interact with them, and it all kind of falls right under still that husbandry, but in a little bit a different way. So being able just to get them some exercise, so doing some high energy behaviors, or just do some new learning, because it's a little bit more that cognitive, that mental stimulation, making sure that they stay nice and healthy in that way too. So we're going to do a couple behaviors with them here as they come out. We're going to see which of our 7 dolphins comes out to the front section of our exhibit. We do have a total of 5 females and 2 male dolphins. Our 2 males are 9 and 12. Foster is our 9-year-old, and Bo is our 12-year-old. Bo actually happens to be, though he is still not quite a full adult male yet, he actually happens to be our largest dolphin. He comes in at about 470 pounds right now. His half-sister is Spirit, so that's his family relation. That he is half-sisters with Spirit, who happens to be one of our 16-year-old females. And Foster is actually the son of Jade. Jade is our 18-year-old female. We also have another family relation of Chesapeake, Bailey, and Maya. Chesapeake's 25 years old. She's the very first dolphin born here at the National Aquarium. She's our oldest dolphin, and she's actually mom to Bailey. Bailey is our youngest dolphin. She's also 9, but she's newly 9. That she is actually our smallest dolphin too, and the lightest in color, so telling her apart is pretty easy. She only comes in about 275 pounds. And then last but not least is Maya. And Maya's actually half sisters. Oh, here's Bailey, there she is. This is Bailey right here. And Maya is Bailey's aunt actually, because she's half sisters with Chesapeake. So they kind of stick around a little bit too. So it looks like we have most of our female dolphins here in the front part of our exhibit, so we'll get to see them. But one of the things we want to talk about today, there's Maya, there she is. So there's a good look at her. One of the things that we want to talk about our dolphins is just how well adapted they are to this water environment. You'll see that they swim through this water with ease. It's very easy for them. It's because they have a couple different really important parts in their body, those fins and appendages, that make it really easy for them to do that. So one of the first things, even what we've talked about already, is that dorsal fin on their back. So the dorsal fin isn't just to help to identify them like we have. This is going to be Spirit coming around the pool. See how that dorsal fin can be a little bit different if you get a look at other ones. She has a very small dorsal fin with very few markings on the back side of it. So that dorsal fin is what helps keep them stable in the water column. So when they're swimming really fast, whether they're swimming upside down or right side up, it's actually going to help them stay upright in that water column, kind of like a keel on a boat is what it acts like. So that's the part that helps keep them like that. You're going to see Bailey as she comes around. Bailey, you're going to see, is just a little bit different, a little bit smaller, a little bit more of an edge to it. So you can actually tell them apart just based on that. We have the opportunity to see them in a couple different ways through their entire body and tell them apart a little bit different. So that dorsal fin is one important part that allows them to swim so well in this water environment. Their torpedo shape also, that kind of tapered shape of their body, helps them swim really fast. But what actually really pushes them to swim nice and fast is that tail of theirs. So you can see that dorsal fin gliding through the surface of the water, and then those flukes that help them swim quite quickly. So you're going to see Bailey come around here too. You're going to notice that their flukes move in an up and down fashion, very different from a shark or a fish that moves side to side. So a dolphin is going to move it up and down, which is a little bit different than those other aquatic animals. And that's a very powerful tail. They actually have the ability to swim at speeds of nearly 20 miles per hour at top speeds. That's quite fast. For a human, our average is only about 3 to 5 miles per hour, maybe a little bit faster if you happen to be an Olympic swimmer. So dolphins can outswim us multiple times over. And then as you saw Chesapeake come around, she was doing a little bit more of a spinning swim, and what helps her do that is those pectoral flippers on the sides. So those pectoral flippers, as you see Spirit wave on that far left corner, those pectoral flippers are really similar to our hands. They actually have finger bones in them just like our hands do. So if you would take an x-ray of that pectoral flipper, it'd be very similar to a human hand. And that's what allows them to steer and maneuver. They have great flexibility in that joint there, very similar to like our wrists, very similar, that they're able to maneuver, even stop a little bit if they need to. You can see them moving it around, especially Spirit over there. You see that flexibility. So putting all these different parts together is what makes them very hydrodynamic in that water column, being able to swim very fast. That's only one of the many reasons that make dolphins so well equipped in this water environment. Of course, they need to catch fish, and that is why they're nice and fast. But dolphins also work together to catch those fish, and one of the ways that they're able to work together so well, they cooperatively hunt together and feed together, is that they need to be able to communicate with one another. So one way of them being able to communicate is vocalization. So listen up to a couple of the different sounds they can make. That was Bailey. Here's Chesapeake. Spirit's going to show you a little bit here on this left-hand side. Listen up. A couple more from Maya. So they can make squeaks, they can make whistles, clicks, squawking noises, a little bit of everything. And that's just one way that they are able to communicate. You can hear them there. Lots of different sounds. And actually all those sounds come from right on top of that blowhole, right on top of their head. They do not have any vocal cords. So even if you might have seen their mouths open, they actually can produce no sounds whatsoever from that mouth of theirs. It all comes from right on top of that head through that blowhole. They have lots of little air sacs and muscles that can control the shape of that so that it can release that air and make different sounds when it comes to that. The other way that dolphins are able to communicate with each other is just body language. So they can use those pectoral flippers or their tails to actually slap the surface of the water and make some sounds, just like you see here with Chesapeake and Spirit, making some sounds. So that's what we call tail lobbing. They can use those pectoral flippers also to be able to slap the surface of the water, like you see Maya on this right-hand side. And all of these might be a way to communicate, because slapping the surface of the water does make a loud sound. It might also be a way that they stun fish, potentially, so one type of hunting strategy. But dolphins don't just have to use those pectoral flippers or that fluke of theirs. They can actually use their entire body. They can jump out of the water and do behaviors that we call breaching. So Spirit's going to demonstrate one of these. It's called a side breach. You see her come out of the water and land on her side. And it makes a really loud slapping sound. She's going to do one more over here so you guys can see. Listen up for that slap. Just like that. So that's actually a way that they might be able to communicate. Also maybe a way that they scratch an itch. They don't just have to land on their side though either. They can land on their back. And what's really neat is you guys are going to get to see Bailey in the process of learning this behavior. So Bailey is that youngest dolphin. She's 9 years old, our smallest. And you can see that she's over here on this right hand side. And her trainer has that really long target pole. It's just a guide for Bailey to follow. So watch her and listen up for this whistle. That was excellent. She can get a big round of applause for that. Nice job, Bailey. That was a great job. So you can see she came all the way out of the water and landed on her back. She's doing a great job. Now we're going to try and get her to go a little bit higher and a little bit further out from that decking. So you see we got a longer target pole this time. She's going to receive the hand signal that says what this behavior is. She's going to get a little tap from that target pole to guide her again. And if you guys noticed, actually, we didn't hear the whistle that time. Because that time Bailey landed on her side. That's not what we're looking for right now. We're looking for her to land on her back. So it's perfectly okay if they make a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake when learning. So we're going to try again and get her to land on her back. So she actually didn't do it again. So sometimes it's a little bit tough because we have to communicate to them what's happening. We don't speak Dolphin, they don't speak English. So we have to be able to teach them another way. So she might just need a little bit of a reminder to be able to remember, I need to land on my back, not my side. That whistle is the way that we tell them that they do a great job. So we're going to go back to the smaller poles. Sometimes it does, we have to take a few steps back if they're not understanding, and that's perfectly okay. You have to go back to square one sometimes. So let's see if she does it right. She's just pretty confused right now, and that's perfectly okay. A little bit of it there. So sometimes just learning process is a little bit tough. She's much newer at this behavior, so it takes a lot of communication between us and the dolphin to teach them exactly what's going on. So let's see if she gets it right now. One more time here, hopefully. She just loves to land on her side. So at this time, because she's a little bit confused, we're just going to leave it there. They might have to work on it a little bit later. So you can see that when she does something not quite right, she goes back to her trainer and she doesn't get told no. There's no punishment for doing something wrong. It's actually just a couple seconds break, kind of just to ignore, forget about it, and then we either try again or move on. So perfectly okay from Bailey there. You're going to see a finished behavior that Maya knows, this one right here. So that time she landed on her back, which is what we were looking for. So they can land in all different ways. They do not just have to land on their back. They don't have to just land on their side. They can land in a lot of different ways. So I think we're going to see Foster here. Oh, Chesapeake, I'm sorry. Chesapeake has hers. Then one other way that they are able to maneuver and kind of land in all different ways that kind of goes along with that communication is called a vertical spin. Spirit's going to show you on the left-hand side there. So when they spin around in circles like that, they can land on whatever part of their body that they need. And not only is this for communication, but it might even be a way that they scratch an itch or remove a parasite. They don't have hands like we do, so they have to use other ways to be able to scratch that itch. And using the surface of the water is a great way to do that. One other thing that the dolphins are really good at is actually figuring out different ways of hunting. So now that they have that communication to help work each other out, they've come up with a couple really unique ways of hunting. And Spirit's going to demonstrate this right here. This is called hydroplaning. And as you can see, she skims along the surface of the water. We see this only off the coast of Australia. Colonies of dolphins in Australia have figured out how to do this behavior, that in the beach line, the shoreline, where fish think that they are safe in just a few inches of water, the dolphins have figured out how to swim really quickly into that shoreline to be able to hydroplane and catch as many fish as they can. Dolphins have also figured out how to do something called bubble netting, and that's basically they go and blow bubbles around a big school of fish, and as they blow those bubbles, it kind of creates a net or a barrier around those fish that those fish do not want to pass. So dolphins have figured out how to use that to their advantage. So we're going to see Spirit's going to show you a little bit of that bubbling on this side. They can just exhale little bubbles from that blowhole of theirs. Oh, she got a little confused. That's okay. No worries. But if you can imagine, they actually are able to blow bubbles out of that blowhole, and they can surround those fish and work together to create a big barrier and bring those fish to the surface so they take lots of breaths. Oh, here comes Chesapeake. There you go. On the right-hand side, Chesapeake's blowing some bubbles. There we go. Nice job, Chesapeake. So our dolphins are going to finish up with a couple behaviors here. They're also extremely athletic, so you are going to see a couple other high energy behaviors. Spirit's going to show you on that left-hand side. So finish up watching some of our dolphins do a couple more of these behaviors. I think Bailey's going to come over here and do another one also. We'll see what she ends up doing. There she is. A little bit of porpoising behaviors. One more. Oh, she decided just to do two that time. But so some of those porpoising behaviors you see in the back, that's actually Bo, one of our male dolphins. That's another behavior. And then of course, one other awesome thing that our dolphins can do is displace a whole lot of water. So watch out in those first couple rows around the exhibit. There's just a little bit of splashing. And watch out, Maya's going to show you it over here on this right-hand side. She's probably one of our better splashers. A little bit of that powerful fluke showing how it's done. Oh, Maya decided not to go instead. Oh, that's okay. She said no. Sorry, guys. Well, they're going to finish up their session, so you can feel free to hang out for a little bit, watch them finish it up. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to come over and ask me. My name is Kelsey. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about our dolphins today, and go check them out and see if you can tell who's who from that underwater viewing window. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.